my name is Susan Ashley and welcome to my YouTube channel, Susan Kassandra. Today I'd like to talk to you about what to do when darkness knocks on your door. Before I do, could you please like, subscribe and share these videos so that more people can get the message of demystifying darkness and free them from the hold that it has on them. That's the reason I'm doing these videos. And if you'd like to know more about me, you can go to my website, lovelightandtruth.com. So, today's subject, what to do when darkness knocks on your door. What does that mean? It means that darkness doesn't always come in the form of an entity or an energy. Sometimes it comes in the form of a person who has been either in alignment with that darkness or is being influenced by that darkness. And sometimes when people have, a weakness, they might be drinking, taking drugs or something, the darkness can very easily use them. But also other weaknesses like feeling worthless, for instance, can be a weakness to you because it means that when you feel worthless, you often compare yourself to others. And when you're in that comparing of others, your energy is low. And then when your energy is low, things can influence you mentally and make you say things and do things you wouldn't normally do. And that can be quite shocking for the people in front of you who love you, who are close to you. So I did a video on that, how to push it out of your mind, etc. But if you're at the receiving end of it, it can be quite intense because it could be the very person that you have opened your heart to. And they've really let you down and they've done something really cruel or unkind or just plain silly, and this can break your heart. And when you feel that you've had your heart broken by someone who has maybe ripped you off, I know that's happened with me plenty of times. I've been plagiarized so many times I've lost count. I used to get very upset and I'd want to crawl in a hole and hide away, and I didn't want to go back out in the world again because it was so cruel and harsh and unkind to me, and I just felt like so much shame and guilt for allowing that to happen to me because I should know better. But what's interesting, what I discovered was, over the years of this happening, it's not my fault. It's not my shame to wear. If someone does something that is against love, that is against integrity and moral standing, if someone treats you badly, you shouldn't wear it. I shouldn't wear it. And that's what I came to the understanding of, was the fact that it wasn't my shame to carry, it was theirs. So why was I hiding it for them? Because often people would do this and I would hide it. I wouldn't tell anyone because I was so ashamed that, here I was, this psychic person who, spiritual person who should know better, was completely tricked by someone. And it's happened to me on many, many occasions actually. And people who were my close friends, people I trusted, that I was really, my heart was with them. And I felt that it was because I don't resonate with darkness, and because I'm very clear on my energy, it's very difficult for darkness to influence me. And that may be because of my work earlier on in my career. Because it was so intensely in the darkness, I had to learn how to manage those thoughts and those influences. And so I don't think along those lines, right? So to my mind, if I'm friends with someone, there is no way I would even consider ripping them off in some way or treating them badly in some way. So it's very hard for me to think or to anticipate that someone who is my friend would do that to me. But I'm very aware that there are little signs that happen. I listen to them now, but I didn't before because I would think, don't be unkind, don't be cruel, don't, think of them like that. Maybe it was just an off day for them or something. There would be these little signs, but I would justify those signs for them. So I was actually justifying their bad behaviour for them. Okay, that's step number one. Don't do that. If someone disrespects you once, they will disrespect you again, and it will get worse. And if you are working in a field where you're having an impact on people, which most people do, it doesn't matter which way you do it. We all have an impact on the people around us. But if you are particularly drawn to having an impact on the people around you, then chances are you're going to be coming up against individuals like that are going to try and stop you from honouring your gift, from honouring who you are and what you're here to do. And so when they do these things, the natural reaction is to crawl away in a hole, to not see anyone. And I wouldn't say anything to anyone because I felt so bad about it all. And so they would actually get away with it. And then that would make me even more annoyed because I'd be thinking, you know, they've gotten away with this and nobody knows, and everyone still thinks they're a nice person when they're a complete and utter asshole, right? So this used to eat me up. It was about the truth being revealed. So what I started, you know, because, I mean, like I said, I had this happen to me quite a few times. And I realised that because I don't have this nasty mind, this way of thinking, I cannot anticipate it in another person. So that's one thing. The other thing is to listen to my inner knowing and not sort of make excuses for people's bad behaviour. So you can still be acquaintances with people, but just don't be their best friend. You know, like I have many people in my life that are acquaintances. It's not because I think they might do something horrible to me. It's just that I happen to know a lot of people. But very few people become my close friend now. Very, very few people. And it will take me some time to get to know them, to see their integrity around their life. So I look at how they treat other people, how they treat situations in their life. And then I see, okay, so they handled that situation really good, so obviously they're going to do the same with me. So that's a sort of a way of me seeing whether a person can be influenced by darkness. When I see them in a difficult situation with either their partner or a friend or a child or someone at work, and I see how they handle it, then I know whether or not they're capable of being influenced by darkness. And then I can allow them in my life a little bit more. See, so that's how I do it. But the thing is that when it does happen, you feel so ashamed and you feel so bad that it lowers your frequency, and you hide away for a long time feeling resentful, feeling angry that other people don't know the truth and all of this sort of thing. So what I started to do, because it started to really annoy me, and I had one particular circumstance. I was working in another country, and this was really horrendous situation, and it's even hard for me to talk about because I never thought something like that would happen to me. But this person deliberately lied about me to a massive group of people who then turned on me, and I got a lot of attack for it. But the whole thing was a lie, actually. The whole thing was a lie. And so I decided, because I'd gone there to work, I decided that I was going to stay there. And I spent probably 3 days repeating over and over again, like just focusing on it, because I was getting phone calls, SMSs, everything from people saying to me, I'll tell you what it was, because you know, if I give you little bits and pieces, you won't really know what it is. So I'd been asked to go do some work. I did this big group, and the woman who was organising it was, you know, taking all the money and everything else like that. And then it all went really well, had a lot of people there, and she had said to me, would I, you know, probably, I think it was 2 days later, would I actually you know, do some private sessions for some of her friends, her special friends? And I said, sure, okay. And there was someone that was there at that group that was a new person from another country who decided that she wanted to make a really dark disturbance in the situation. Very dark person. And in fact, when I met her, I remember, you know, occasionally you'll meet people and it's instant. You go instantly, like guidance will come in and say to me, like if a person is genuinely dark, I'll know it. What I was talking about earlier is if a person is influenced by the dark, and you don't know, because 1 minute they're just normal, they're not influenced. When you meet them, they could have this beautiful vibration, and then, you know, 2 weeks or 2 months later, greed could step in because they're finding out this information about you, or a year later, greed could step in and then they can be influenced. That's what I mean by that. But this person was definitely dark, really dark. And when I met her, my guidance came in and said, just be really careful around this person. So I went, oh, okay. And then the night after this workshop, I got savagely psychic attacked by demonic beings, and it was a group of them, and my whole aura was ripped open. And I think it was 3 or 4 in the morning, I rang my husband and I told him what was going on, and he just said, get out of that place, because I was staying at the lady's house. So I waited till 5 in the morning, and by this I was just battling these demons. It was really intense. 5 in the morning, I rang someone that I knew lived nearby, because I'd been going to this country quite often and I knew a lot of people there. And I rang her and I said, look, I'm having a really difficult situation. Can you come here? Can you pick me up? And she said, sure. She didn't even question it. She said, sure. And so I packed my things and I got in the car and we went to her place. And by that stage, I was completely shaking. I was, crying. I was like, oh my God, it was very demonic. They were ripping at my aura. I was just like devastated. And she said, look, it's okay. And I knew it was associated with that woman, right? So during the day, I contacted the lady who'd organised this work and I said, look, I'm really, really sorry. This happened to me at your house last night and I got someone to come and pick me up early this morning. I cannot do this work. I'll have to wait a few days and see how I am energetically, because I can't work like this. It's not possible. I can't do this work. Is it possible to put these people off for a few days? Anyway, she got really angry because it was her ego that had been bruised, and she said, but I've made commitments, and she got really annoyed with me. And I said, look, I'm terribly sorry, but I cannot work in this space. It's not possible. I can't think straight. And so she then said to me, well, I can bring you around some, sleeping tablets and Valium to calm you down, and then, you can work in 2 days. And I said, well, I don't take those sort of things because, okay, I will take a sleeping tablet on a long haul flight, but it's not something I would genuinely take. I don't take medications genuinely, or even headache pills or something like that, because I know that they alter your energy system. So I don't do it. So I said, look, I don't really want to do that. I know that if I have a few days, I can see how I go. Anyway, she was really angry. She hung up. Next thing I know, I'm getting all these phone calls and SMSs saying, Susan, you need to do the right thing. You need to, I hope you haven't done this. All these kind of weird messages. And I'm like, what's this about? So this woman's husband, so when everybody had gone into this workshop, like I said, she took all the money and everything, and she was meant to give me my percentage afterwards. And I didn't even, obviously I left at 5 in the morning. I didn't have the money. She had the money. I just packed my things and I left. So her husband had said that I had stolen all the money, including her share, and some jewellery, and I had left the house, which wasn't true, right? So next thing you know, I've got all these people SMSing me and ringing me saying, you know, you have to return it now. How could you do this? Because the whole workshop was about, you know, respecting women. It was the divine feminine principle. And then they're accusing me of this. Anyway, so I thought I was going insane. I was like, well, I didn't take any money. I certainly didn't take any jewellery. I mean, I left there. I was staying downstairs. I didn't go upstairs to where all of this apparently was. And I said to the lady I was staying with, look, search everything I have. Search the luggage, my handbag, everything. You know, there's no possible way I could have gone to a bank in the middle of the night. I don't even have a bank here, you know. So search everything. You can see I don't have any of the money and I've got nothing else and I'm absolutely innocent on this. Well, this went on for 3 days. For 3 days, I had more and more people telling me, like, that I was, you know, bad. I literally had everyone attacking me. And by this stage, I went to another friend's place who totally believed me. And I was a mess because I'd had my aura opened up by these demonic beings. And I also had all these lies being said about me. And by this stage in my life, I thought, you know what? I'm not taking this anymore. I'm going to use the energy that I have, that I help other people to do, for myself. So for 3 days, I sat in this space of sort of half meditation, you know, half being present, and I repeated in my head, the truth is going to be revealed. May the truth be revealed. The truth is being revealed. May the truth be revealed. Reveal the truth around this. And I just kept repeating it. 3 days later, because, you know, Yanni was saying to me, oh, you know, you should just get on a plane and come home. And I said, no, I'm not coming home until the truth is revealed. I am not leaving until it's publicly known that I didn't do this, because I didn't do it. And if I leave, I'm just showing them, you know, that I did something wrong. So I thought, no, I'm not leaving. I'm going to stand there and I'm going to stay there until the truth is revealed, because I'm fed up with people doing this crap to me in my life, and then me running off feeling really bad and never saying anything to anyone, because I'm not like that. You know, I don't publicly shame people and call them liars and everything else like that. So it's just not in me to have revenge, right? So I thought, no, but this time I'm going to make sure the truth is being revealed. So some of the people that I spoke to, I just very gently said, look, this is not true. I don't know what went on. I've got no idea what's going on in this woman's mind. But what I do know is that I did let her down, and perhaps her ego has made her do this. I honestly don't know. But I can tell you that there's no way I would steal from anyone. And I didn't have the opportunity to do so either. And you're welcome to come and check everything that I have and prove it. I can prove it to you. And so that sort of made a few people go, yeah, something's not right about this. Anyway, the first lady that I was staying with was actually really, really close friends with this woman and her husband. And the husband was a financial investor, right? He's a financial investor, investing multi-millions. And the woman who picked me up, the first woman, extremely wealthy and had a lot of investments with this man. So she happened to be around there 3 days later. And in the meantime, I'm saying, may the truth be revealed. The truth is going to be revealed. It was like my mind became a robot and there was no other way it could go. No ifs, no buts, no doubts. I just stayed focused on the truth was going to be revealed. End of story. Even though I didn't actually know what the truth was. So anyway, this woman went round to their house for dinner 3 nights later, and the husband, and she brought the subject up. She said, look, I don't know what's going on with Susan. I mean, this is really weird. You know, she rang me at 5 in the morning. I picked her up. She was in a terrible state. And, you know, I went through her stuff. She didn't have anything there. I mean, it's a mystery because I made her go through my stuff, right? And she said, it's an absolute mystery. And the guy turns around, he goes, well, fuck her. He said, I've got the money. and I've got the jewellery. And he said, fuck her for upsetting my wife. Who does she think she's playing with? So it was all an ego game that he practically tried to destroy my credibility and my good name and all the work I had been doing in that country for 15 years. That bastard wanted to destroy me because I let his wife down. Can you believe this shit? And this is what some of these people do. So anyway, she was in shock. She was like, how could you do that to this woman? You know, she's been nothing but nice to you lot. She has no right to upset my wife. And granted, the wife didn't know either, right? But she never apologised to me. So then the other woman rings me and she tells me, and I said, well, can you please ring the other women that were in this group and set off a little, wave to let them know what the truth is, because, this has been really hard on me. And I have felt disgusted that people who I thought knew me would even consider that I would do something like that. So she said, okay, and the message got out. So I go back home, and a couple of months later, I get a gift from the woman who had, I'd agreed to do these workshops for. I get a gift from her, and it's just a little bag, and she says, I would like to return the money to you, because it's yours, it's rightfully yours. No, can you please give me your details and I'll return the money to you? And I wrote back to her and I said, you can keep your money because it's tainted, but what I'd like you to do is to return it to every single woman that participated in that workshop, which was over 100. Send it to every single woman, repay them, because you destroyed the essence in which that workshop was conducted. So you can give them a refund. She never did, because obviously she didn't want to 100% admit that they had done this to me, because whilst she didn't do that, it was still for some people a maybe. And that's what they did to me. And so I used my gift of clarity and certainty in spirit that the truth would be revealed, and it was. And I've often shared that with people who are going to court. You know, when you're going to court and you're going against someone who was perhaps your lover, your husband or whatever, and now they're being really nasty because greed has influenced them, and they're listening to that negative demonic energy telling them to rip you off, to have more than, you don't deserve it, they deserve it more because they worked harder, whatever the rubbish is. Just keep beforehand, may the truth be revealed, may the truth be revealed. And use your energy to reveal the truth of that person and the truth of the situation. I've actually done that with banking systems, with all sorts of things, because these people do come to your home, they come into your life, and they disturb you. And they make bullshit up about you, and they try to make out like you're crazy, there's something wrong with you, you're the one with the problem, when it's really them. It's called projection, and it's a psychological warfare. And actually the darkness is very, very adept at it. They use it all the time. They turn things around. So they accuse you of what they have done. And we see this playing out in politics all the time, all the time. We see it. And even in religion, and it's interesting because a lot of priests came forward, bishops and that, they've said, well, children are an easy target because, blaming it on the victim, because they're often from single parent homes. So now we're going to blame it on the mother. They're from single parent homes and they really need love and affection, and we give them the love. They're seeking it. They want it from us, as if the child's actually begging to be abused. So they want it from us and they're seeking it from us because we are a source of male love for them. What a load of friggin' rubbish. How sick is that? And this is how the darkness works, folks. And this is how it enters your home. It enters your home through the people that you most trust at times. Right? And when they do, it's important that you stand up to them, that you don't run away and hide like I used to. See, now I don't. Right? Now I confront the beast. Because I know that by confronting them, I'm letting them know, not in my world, honey. Right? So if I had, obviously, since then I've had a couple of more attempts to do that to me. And I just ring them and I meet them for coffee. I had one girl came to a workshop that I did. She said to me, "Oh, I really like that workshop. Can you come and do one, in this city that I live in?" And she was going to translate for me. And she said, "Can I translate it for you?" I said, "Sure, that's great. I'll pay you, blah, blah, blah." Because I really have this thing about paying people their worth. I like to have an exchange because then no one can come back to me and say, "She abused me, she ripped me off, she did this or she did that." So I'm very clear financially, always very clear about that, because it can create a lot of problems. And I always pay people more than they think they're worth. Right, always. So I say, "Okay," and off I go. And she records it all. She says to me at the beginning, "Can I record this so I can look at, how well I translated for you?" I didn't even think that would be a problem. I said, "Sure, no problem," very trusting. Okay. Then I go away and I do some work. I come back and I hear these people telling me, "Oh, that this chick, she's doing these workshops. They're almost identical to yours. And word for word, And I go, "Oh, okay." So I know that her job was, she worked in an office, right? So she doesn't understand energies, but what's happened is she's thought, "I can make money out of this if this woman's making money out of it." Not content with the money that she earned, which was quite good. Not content with that, she just saw greed, right? Dollar signs. If this lady can do it, I can do it. But what she didn't realise is that I work a lot with energies in these workshops, and they're deliberately done to impact women who've been abused, to trigger that to come out, right? So she had no idea what to do. When these women started to have this stuff triggered, she had no idea how to respond. So in fact, she was doing more damage than good to those women, and it was very disrespectful. So I rang her and I said to her, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend?" Because I knew she had advertised this workshop. She goes, "Oh, not much." I said, "Really? That's not what I hear. I hear that you have been, doing my workshops word for word. What can you say about that?" And she said, "Well, you inspired me." And I said, "Well, I'm very glad that I inspired you, but do you understand how to work with energy?" I said, "You don't really know a lot about that, do you? And do you see that could actually impact some of those women in a negative way if you didn't know how to respond to them when they went into trauma?" She goes, "Well, yeah, but, it's working out well for me." And I said, you know what I said to her? I said, "Okay, if you really are passionate about this, I'll train you. And I'll train you for free." Do you think she would say yes? No, she didn't. She said, "No, thank you. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing." So then I thought to myself, okay, so this is what she's doing. But what she didn't realise is that a lot of what I had in that particular workshop, I had recorded. And I had made a CD out of it. And I had copyrighted it. And she had no right to do that. So, of course, then I got legal situation involved. And I started standing up for myself. That's what I started to do. And it wasn't that I was being nasty with her. And I said to her, "You have a right to earn money in whatever way you wish. But you don't have a right to plagiarise my work." And she said to me, "Well, you got that from Spirit. It's free." I said, "Well, actually, no, it's not. Because I spent years studying, probably before you were born, years studying. I spent years meditating, years working with people and discovering all of this. So it didn't come free to me. It came through not only spending money on higher education and further education, spending time and working with people, right? So it didn't come free to me at all. And so I said to her, you're very mistaken, right? So this is how it invades you and it comes in. And the reason I'm talking about these personal things, because you need to know the circumstances in which it can show up for you. And like I said, I don't give names. I don't hammer people, but yeah, you know, and it still happens. I just ring the people and I say, hey, you know, do you want to have a conversation about this? Invariably they say no, because they now feel ashamed. You see what I'm doing? I'm turning the table around. I'm letting them know, and I'm not afraid to do this, I'm letting them know that they have done something wrong and I see it. Look, they could continue doing what they're doing. That's fine. But they need to know from me that I know what they're doing, so that I'm clear in myself, right? So that I'm not hiding myself. Because what I realized was that every time someone did that and I vacated my own self, my own mission, what I'm here to do, when I crawled away and cried for weeks and felt so abused, I wasn't doing what I came here to do. And they got exactly what they wanted. They wanted to disable me. And now I don't give them the pleasure of it. I'll walk into the room with them, stare them right in the face and say, I know exactly who you are. And I'm telling you, you exposing them like that, you don't have to expose them publicly. I don't do that publicly. And I know that probably some of you who know me will know who I talked about today. But I wouldn't do it publicly because, you know, that's just nasty. And I'm not looking for revenge, because everything that's happened has happened to build up something in me. And it's hurt me at times. It's made me feel like, I just don't want to do this work anymore. I've had enough. You know, I can't take it anymore. I've done all of that, screaming at God. God's really good to scream at because he doesn't have judgment on that. I use the word he, which is wrong. God doesn't have judgment on that, right? So I scream at God all the time. Why? Yeah, I do that sort of stuff all the time. But I've learned that when that darkness comes into my home like that, to stand up to it and to not allow them to feel that they got away with it or they had such a strong impact on me. But I don't go crazy, right? Because when you yell and you scream and you stamp your feet and you do all of that, you're actually giving them exactly what they want. They want to destroy you. They want to take you away from your heart and place you somewhere else. And I won't allow them to do it. So what I'll do is I'll get angry, but I'll get angry with God. You know, like this, and they did this and they did that, and no, and I hate it, and da. You know, I really go for it. And then I calm myself down. I do something like, may the truth be revealed, or something like that. And then I'll either approach them when I'm calm and I'm very clear and I've already got the words in my head of what I'm going to say, or I ask for guidance to guide me, or I choose to let it go. But if I choose to let it go, I'll tell you what happens. When it's amazing, right? So when you choose to let it go like that, but you remain in the light field that you're in, you keep your heart open, there's a karmic thing that happens, right? And as long as I'm holding the shame, the guilt, the despair, all of that, I'm holding a karmic link. And they're still holding me karmically to feel that way. But when I let it go, right, the payment has to go back to them, because karma is like this. It comes at you and then it goes out. It's got two sides to it. It's duality, right? So if I'm willing to hold it in myself and I'm willing to feel all that pain every day and say, oh, I never fall in love again because, they hurt me so badly. I'll never trust another person again because they, destroyed my trust in mankind. As long as I'm willing to hold that in myself, they're not going to get their karma back, right? Because I'm still holding it. So the moment I let it go, the moment I say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to run away and hide, and I'm not going to feel like shit for weeks because of what this person did to me. That's your shame, not mine. That's your nastiness, not mine. I'm a good person. I'm going to feel my heart. I'm going to see the lesson if there is a lesson, or maybe it's just an unfortunate situation. They've been looking for someone they can rip off, right? I see the lesson, whatever. I do that. I release it to God, and I ask for karmic balance to be made. And I swear to you, I will hear. Sometimes it'll take a year, but most of the time it's much faster than that. I will hear what happened to that person. I've done nothing. I have done nothing. And I know some people get really creeped out. The people that know me, they go, oh my God, did you hear what happened? I go, no, what happened? And then they tell me, okay. It's got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me whatsoever. I did not create that. They created it. All I did was release myself from any karmic bond so that the karma was free to go back to them. The balance had to be created. It's like someone explained to me a few years ago, because I said to him, I don't understand, why is it that when someone does something really horrible to me, I hear what happens to them and it's not pleasant? And he said, well, would you spit on the Dalai Lama? I said, well, of course not. And he said, someone who greets a person with an open heart and innocence that you have, when you spit on that person, the karma that they get, because they know the person's innocent and they know they're making you a target is 10 times greater than if they weren't aware. Right? So if you rip off someone and it's a competitive game between the two of you and you're both trying to rip each other up, then the karma's shitty, but it's not so bad. But if you deliberately rip off an innocent person who is being kind and loving and giving you the benefit of the doubt, then the karma is greater because it's innocence. It's the same with these kids, what people are doing to these kids. The karma these people are going to incur is nobody's business. I'm telling you, you would not want to be that person. You will not want to be that person. So this is what is a really good thing to know. Do not crawl away. Get a hold of your heart. Get a hold of your heart and say, no, I am not going to fold. I'm not going to disappear because they want me to. That's the game. I'm not going to disappear. I'm going to hold my heart out here, and I'm going to continue being loving and kind to anyone who presents themselves before me. And, sometimes the best way to heal yourself is to be around kids and animals or nature, because they don't have that. They're innocent. And that can rebuild your heart. But, return to sender kind of thing. I'm not holding this for you. Piss off, right? You can look in my earlier videos for those techniques. But it's not a good idea to hold it in your heart, right? So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And yes, I've given you some personal details about me. I'm quite a private person, but I wanted to give you that because for you to understand how the darkness works, and it works in very weird ways. Like, being accused of stealing is a horrible thing. You don't want to talk to anyone about it because People will question your integrity. They'll question you as a person. Just having that shit stinks and it sticks to you, right? So for me, it was very humiliating because when I went back, I thought, I can't do a lot of work here anymore because shit stinks. There's this little implication, that goes around it. And that's what the darkness wants. It wants me to not go there again. It wants me to hold my head in shame and feel bad for something I had nothing to do with. But I'll tell you what, karma did hit those people pretty hard. And everyone that I spoke about, it hit them pretty hard. And it had nothing to do with me. Right, so I know that if I learnt quite young, that anger is a powerful thing, and so is revenge, and that I shouldn't go there. I learned very, very young this thing. And guidance literally said it audibly in my mind, like from the outside in. They literally gave me such a strong lesson around my anger and those feelings of revenge when I was in my early 20s, because given my childhood, I could have been a very nasty adult. And because I had these gifts, I could use those gifts in a very nasty way. And I got really strong lessons on that. So I'm very aware that I must never, ever use my energy to harm anyone. I'll let spirit or karma do that, right? Because that's what they have put out. It has nothing to do with me. I'm very clear on that. I'm very clear on that. And I'm very clear what I give out comes back to me. And that's why I don't give it out. I'll give it to God because I know God will absorb it. And I also know Mother Nature will absorb it. It's nothing beyond me going to a tree and pounding it and screaming at it, because, I get it ready for it, because I know there's no, revenge on me for it. They welcome me releasing my emotions, and they will transmute those emotions. And so I do it in a safe and kind manner, not only to myself, but to the people around me, right? I've learnt that level of self-responsibility because I don't want to incur karma with people. But what happened to me wasn't necessarily karma. It's just people looking at an opportunity and going, that looks interesting, right? It's opportunists. They're all around the place. It wasn't because I'm stupid and I don't know better and I need to do all of this, that and the other. It had nothing to do with that. It's just opportunists. I don't have bad karma, So I'm just saying that it's really, really advantageous to you to get out what you're feeling in a neutral situation, and then to not allow it to stay inside you and distract you from what you're here to do, because that's why it comes knocking. And it might come many, many times. For me, it's come more than enough times. Now I see it and I'm more cautious with people. Like I said, it takes a while for me to get to know someone now. But I still keep my heart open to everyone. And that's my gift. My gift is my heart. My gift is my compassion. And I'm not going to turn that off for anyone, because that would be the darkness invading me and getting what it wants. And I'm just not prepared to give that or to do that. And I'm hoping that you won't do the same. So stop hiding. Stop feeling bad about the fact that somebody ripped you off, somebody didn't love you in the way that you love them, etc., etc. And start loving yourself, getting in contact with yourself and building that up, because what I do know, the stronger your vibration of love, the stronger your ability to manifest. That's what I know, because it's all about vibration. So on that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope you've enjoyed this video and this little conversation. Please like, share and subscribe, because I really want to get these videos out there to as many people as possible to kind of steer them away from the darkness. And I know I'm exposing the darkness, and some might think that we're going into it, but we're not. I'm empowering you to know what to do when it's in front of you. So on that note, I'll love you and leave you, and enjoy a wonderful afternoon creating. Bye for now.